Remember that feeling? Riding bikes till the streetlights came on, or calling a friend's house and hoping their parents didn't answer. It was a different world before everyone was constantly connected.
Right.
Now imagine someone just disappearing in that world,
Oh,
leaving almost no trace. And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yep.
The disappearance of Dale Williams. Back in 1999, from this small town, Nucla, Colorado.
I've heard of this one. It's a strange case.
Yeah, it is. You all asked us to dig into this, and we've got it all. Articles, interviews, official reports, the whole thing. We're trying to figure out how a family man, dedicated guy, seemingly vanished. Just like that.
It's fascinating, really. Dale's case takes us back to a time when investigations were less about, digital footprints and more about old-school detective work.
Exactly. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About how much we just take for granted now. I mean, remember those days? No cell phones glued to our hands?
Oh, I remember. It feels like a lifetime ago.
It does. So for those of you who do remember, this case might hit a little differently. Imagine piecing together someone's last movements with basically no technology, just word of mouth and a whole lot of guesswork.
It really highlights how much investigations have changed.
Absolutely. But, some things stay the same. Human behavior, small-town dynamics, those haven't changed.
Very true.
So let's start with Dale Williams.
Okay.
He was 42 years old, had his own auto body shop, successful business, and everyone in Nucla knew him. Kind, helpful guy, even played Santa Claus for the kids.
Sounds like he was really a part of the community. Makes his disappearance even more shocking, like pulling a thread from the fabric of the town.
Yeah, exactly. And this disappearance, it's full of twists and turns. It all starts on a Thursday, May 27th, 1999, seemingly ordinary day. Dale gets a call at the shop, broken down vehicle.
Happens all the time, right?
You'd think, right?
Yeah.
Normal for an auto body shop owner.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets a little strange. He first says he'll take a tow truck, but later he's seen driving his own pickup.
That's odd. A change of plans. Why? Was it something about the call? Or the location? Maybe something made him switch to his personal vehicle.
And get this, the last anyone sees Dale, he's at a grocery store. 6 p.m. that evening. In Naturita, a town on the way to the broken-down vehicle.
Okay, so maybe he was on his way to the call. Or heading back.
See, that's the thing. It raises more questions than answers.
A puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit.
Exactly. So Dale doesn't come home that night. His wife, Diana, she knows something's wrong, reports him missing the next day. And this kind of disappearance, it's not normal for Nucla.
Yeah.
So they call in the big guns, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the CBI.
Wow, the CBI, that's serious. It means they knew this wasn't just a routine missing person case.
Right. There was something about Dale's disappearance that needed a closer look.
I can imagine the town was on edge. Everyone knows everyone in a small town.
Absolutely. Fear, uncertainty, rumors flying around, drug trafficking, money problems, you name it. But from what we found, none of it was true.
It happens. People try to make sense of things, and sometimes it leads to more confusion, especially in a close-knit community.
So for 6 weeks, nothing. No sign of Dale. Then, July 4th, they find his truck, submerged in a river about 20 miles outside of Nucla. You might think, oh, tragic accident, but wait, there's more. The truck itself, besides being underwater, no damage. Keys are in the ignition. The steering wheel's stuck. And the driver's side window, it's rolled down halfway.
Halfway? That's strange. Why wouldn't it be all the way up or all the way down? Makes you think maybe someone messed with the truck after it ended up in the river.
And Dale's daughter, Toni, she noticed that too. She knew her dad. Window all the way up or all the way down. Never in between. And this was an old truck, so someone had to manually crank that window down.
Little details like that can be really important. They don't fit the story of a simple accident.
Exactly. And here's another thing. Dale's toolbox, it's gone. From the truck bed.
Gone.
And this wasn't a little plastic toolbox. We're talking big, heavy metal, bolted down. Wouldn't just fall off.
So someone took it. Or maybe it holds a clue to where Dale is.
Now you're thinking like an investigator. That missing toolbox, it's a big question mark. Let's go back to that phone call. The one Dale got at the shop, the one that started all this.
Right.
There's a lot of different stories about that call. Some say it was a woman, someone unknown. Others say it was a stolen cell phone. Some even think it was a landline.
This was 99, right?
Yep, 1999. In a rural area. Cell phones, they weren't what they are now, especially in places like Nucla. Tracing calls back then, not easy, took time. Toni, Dale's daughter, remembers their phone service was through a small local company, not one of the big ones. She thinks tracing a landline call would have been almost impossible, and that they wouldn't have kept records for very long.
So those records are gone.
Likely, yeah. A major obstacle in this case. A missing piece of the puzzle. And speaking of missing pieces, back in Nuclear, things are getting weirder. Missing person flyers for Dale. They keep disappearing. Someone's tearing them down.
Someone doesn't want Dale found.
They set up a camera. And guess who they catch? A former friend of Dale's. We'll call him Mr. Jones.
A former friend. Sounds like there's more to this story. What happened between them?
Well, about a year before Dale vanished, he and his wife helped Mr. Jones's wife leave him, move out of state.
Oh, so there's some bad blood there.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
And it gets worse. They find torn up photos of Dale and his wife, scattered around, along with some bullets.
Whoa. That's creepy.
And remember how Dale had a revolver stolen from his shop a while back? A few days after those photos and bullets are found, that stolen revolver. It's placed in the drop box of the video store that Diana, Dale's wife, manages.
This Mr. Jones, he's looking more and more suspicious. Did they question him?
Several times. He denied having anything to do with the threats before Dale disappeared. But tearing down those flyers, he couldn't deny that. He did give an alibi for when Dale vanished, but no one knows the details.
I guess they're keeping that close to the vest, huh? If the investigation's still going.
Makes sense. So we have these strange events, a potential suspect, a motive, and yet the case goes cold. Years pass, there are a few tips, potential leads, but nothing solid. They found human remains once, turned out to be unrelated, and a toolbox found by the road got everyone's hopes up, but it led nowhere.
It's heartbreaking. All that waiting, all that hoping, and nothing.
It is. And it makes you wonder, what if this happened today with all the technology we have now?
Right. Think about it. Social media, cell phone data, all that digital stuff. Back then, none of that.
Makes you realize how much harder it was back then.
Definitely. But even with all our technology today, some mysteries are just hard to crack.
Absolutely. And Dale's disappearance, it's one of those mysteries.
They tried something interesting in 2007. They checked Dale's social security number to see if it had been used anywhere. Maybe he started a new life, new identity.
Makes sense.
But nothing came up.
Think about what we could do today. Social media, bank records, location data from phones. Back then, it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, blindfolded.
It's true. It's amazing they're still looking for a case that old, before all this tech. Shows how dedicated they are.
It does. And speaking of dedication, the CBI got some money in 2010, a grant to review cold cases.
Oh.
And guess what? Dale's case reopened.
About time.
Right. So they got DNA samples from his family, his dental records, put all that info into the national databases.
Makes sense. Cover all the bases.
Okay, get this. Ready for a shocker.
Yeah, shoot.
Dale's daughters. They weren't officially interviewed until 2013.
2013? Hold on. That's like 14 years after he disappeared.
Yep, 14 years.
That's crazy. You'd think they'd be some of the first people they talked to.
Right.
They knew him best. His habits, his friends, everything.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it? Of course, the media attention, especially that Unsolved Mysteries episode about Dale, it got people talking online.
Oh yeah, the internet. Everyone's a detective these days.
Right. People claimed they'd seen him. Theories popped up about mine shafts in the area. You know how it goes. But none of it led anywhere.
The internet can be helpful, but it also creates a lot of noise for investigators to sift through.
Definitely. But the CBI, they haven't given up. They've got Dale in that cold case deck of cards, put up billboards, keep his story out there, hoping someone, somewhere, will remember something.
You never know. Something might jog someone's memory.
Exactly. Hope is a powerful thing. Now, here's something that'll blow your mind.
What's that?
Dale's truck. The one from the river. It's still in evidence. But it's been sitting outside for over 20 years.
Seriously? Out in the open, sun, rain, snow, all of it. That's gotta be rough on the truck.
Yeah, not to mention the time it spent underwater. Think about the evidence. What's left? It's amazing it's still in one piece. But there's this new technology. Touch DNA. People are talking about it.
Right, touch DNA. It's pretty incredible what they can do now. Just a few skin cells, and they can identify someone.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So Tony, Dale's daughter, and a lot of folks online, they think touch DNA might be the answer. Remember that window? Rolled down halfway? Maybe someone else was in that truck with Dale.
It's possible. But touch DNA, it's not perfect. Especially after all this time out in the elements, it breaks down.
True. The CBI did look at the truck again when they reopened the case, but they didn't find anything new. But touch DNA technology, it's come a long way since then.
So there's still a chance. A long shot, maybe, but a chance.
And while we're on the topic of potential leads, what about that toolbox?
The missing one. It's strange that it just vanished. Something that big, you'd think it would turn up.
It's a real head-scratcher. They did find a smaller toolbox a few years later. Dale's brother said it was his. Makes you wonder, maybe there are other tools out there from that big toolbox. Maybe they hold some clues.
Interesting thought, like scattered pieces of a puzzle.
Right. Intriguing but frustrating, too. All this time, and those pieces haven't led to anything concrete.
It's a tough one. But the search goes on, and for Dale's daughters, Tony and Sarah, it's personal. They want answers, and they miss their dad.
Absolutely. Tony believes her father, he walked into something dangerous, like he knew something or someone that put him at risk.
That's scary to think about, especially with all the weird stuff going on before he disappeared, like that Mr. Jones and the threats.
She even thinks maybe his body, maybe it was hidden like the toolbox, somewhere it'll never be found. It's a sad thought, but it makes sense in a way.
It's a lot to carry. All that uncertainty, not knowing what happened. I can't imagine. Tony wants answers, but she also wants justice for whoever did this if someone did.
Right. It's a mix of feelings. Sadness, anger, wanting it all to be over, but knowing it might never be. And it's not just Tony. The whole town of Nucla, they've been affected by this. Dale was a part of their lives.
It's a reminder, isn't it, that these cases, they're about more than just the missing person. They affect everyone, leave a hole in the community, a question mark hanging over everything. Like a reminder that even in small towns, secrets exist, and lives can change in an instant.
It's true. And the investigators, they haven't given up on finding Dale. They're still looking for his remains. Anything that matches his description.
That's good to hear. They haven't forgotten him.
They're even thinking about expanding the search beyond Colorado, looking at missing persons databases in other states, like Utah. There's a possible John Doe match in a database there.
Interesting. So they're widening the net, acknowledging that maybe, just maybe, the answer lies outside Nucla.
It's like they're looking for that one needle in a haystack, but now they're making the haystack bigger, just in case. And that's what keeps hope alive, right?
Yeah.
The chance, even in a case this old, that something new will pop up, some connection, some information, and it'll all lead to the truth.
It's amazing, really, how people never give up hope, even when things look bleak. It's about wanting answers, wanting justice. It's about believing that the truth is out there somewhere, and maybe, just maybe, it'll come to light.
It's amazing, isn't it, how much the world has changed since '99. Back then, the internet was barely a thing for most people.
I know, right? We had those big clunky cell phones and DNA solving crimes. That was like something out of Star Trek.
Exactly. Now we leave digital trails everywhere. Our phones, our computers, even our DNA is out there. But for Dale, there's none of that. It was all about old school detective work. Shoe leather, interviews, putting together timelines the hard way.
Must have been tough for the investigators. No cell phone records, no GPS data. It's like trying to find a lost dog in a blizzard.
And don't forget, this is a small town. Nucla, everyone knows everyone. So you can imagine the rumors. Must have been intense.
Oh, yeah, we saw that in the research. Drugs, money problems, all kinds of stories, but none of it panned out.
People need an explanation, right? Even if there isn't one. So they fill in the blanks themselves.
And that can make things harder for investigators, can't it? Trying to separate fact from fiction, the pressure must have been incredible.
It's a testament to those investigators. They kept their focus on the facts, on the evidence, even when everyone around them was jumping to conclusions. And they haven't stopped. Still looking for answers, new evidence, even with all the years that have passed. Like that touch DNA, that's a whole new avenue.
It shows they're committed to finding out what happened to Dale.
And for his family, for the community, that's got to mean something. They deserve answers, closure. They deserve to know that Dale hasn't been forgotten.
If anyone's listening and they know something, anything at all about Dale's disappearance, they should come forward. Even if it seems small, unimportant, it could be the missing piece.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's the smallest detail that makes all the difference. You never know.
It's a reminder that we can all help in seeking justice, in supporting those who've been hurt, and never giving up hope. Even the coldest cases, sometimes they get solved.
So, we've gone deep into this mystery, this small-town tragedy, and it's clear. Dale's story, it stays with you. It makes you think about the power of the unknown, of how fragile life can be, how things can change in an instant.
Dale's story is a reminder that behind every missing person, every unsolved case, there's a real person, a life that mattered, a story that needs to be told. And until we know the truth, the search goes on.
Thank you all for joining us on this journey. We hope we've shed some light on what happened to Dale Williams. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there has that one piece of information that can finally solve this mystery. If you have any information about Dale Williams' disappearance, no matter how small, please contact the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. You might hold the missing piece to solving this decades-old mystery. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop seeking answers.